Derek Chisora, Joseph Parker, top of the bill. It happened. We actually got Derek Chisora to walk first and come to the ring. And I mean, obviously, we were told it was because his mum told him off and told him to get on with it and do it. So he did. Not that I would say any of these things to Derek Chisora's face, because to be honest, the guy scares me quite a lot from what I've seen, because he's so damn unpredictable. But man, predictability. Derek Chisora is kind of turning into one of these guys in the boxing ring. You know what he's going to do, but stopping him from doing it is a hell of a task. And Joseph Parker found that out. They knew, the Parker team knew that Derek Chisora was going to bum rush him. From the opening bell, Chisora is going to get down, get his head down, get his chin down, march forward, throw big, nasty punches, go at the body, get the head involved there, just have a real fight, a real tear up. That's what Derek Chisora does. You know he's going to do it, and you can have all the hours in the gym going, well, look, what we're going to do, we're going to pop in with the jab, we'll step off, we'll create space. You can do all this in the gym, but when you've actually got a guy like Chisora, force of nature, putting it on you, it's very, very different. And the other thing as well, I mean, I said about maybe around 3 or 4, you know, Parker's probably waiting for Derek to sort of burn off some of this, you know, adrenaline and energy. And I tell you what, man, it wasn't till round 8, round 9 that Chisora really started to slow a bit, where, you know, he's breathing heavily in the corner. I mean, you saw Chisora breathing heavy in the corner, and you're thinking, oh, he's knackered now. And then as the bell rings, he gets off his stool, the bell rings, and it's like that Derek Chisora sat on his stool breathing heavy. That guy just leaves, and it's War Chisora takes over, and the heavy breathing stops, and he just goes out and does it again for another 3 minutes. Joseph Parker down in the first round. I thought it was a trip to begin with because of the camera angle and where it was. Obviously, with the replays, it was a pretty legit knockdown. It was a legitimate knockdown. It was a sort of clubbing shot on the head. It wasn't round the back of the head. It was a fair shot. And I think that took everyone by surprise. Definitely took Joseph Parker by surprise. He got up and he looked a little bit, well, this wasn't part of the plan. This wasn't in the script. And straight away, if you have a game plan where you say, okay, this guy's going to come out real fast and throw a whole load of stuff at me, we'll give him the first 5 rounds. But then, after round 5, we put our foot on the gas, take over, maybe even stop him later on. It's a risky, dangerous game plan to have. But straight away, if you're down in the first round, that game plan's ruined because you're 2 points down on the scorecards. So the other thing is as well, you can't just give 5 rounds to the other guy. You've got to make him work for those 5 rounds. If you just give him the 5 rounds, he's not going to be knackered when you get into the later rounds when you want to start working. If you're going to give him 5 rounds, you need him blowing out of his arse by the 6th. So you need to go at the body. You need to lean on him. You need to frustrate him. Okay, if you're going to give him 5 rounds, fine. But make sure he gives you something. He gives you part of himself. His energy, his heart, his lungs. Take something away from him. And fortunately, Joseph Parker didn't. Not enough anyway. As the fight wore on, as I've said, Chisora got more and more tired. Parker, when he got some space and let his hands go, looked decent. There were some good straight shots, some good combos going in there. A couple of nice bent arm shots as well. But by the time the final bell went, I'm thinking, has Parker really done enough? because I'm giving Chisora the majority of the first 6 or 7 rounds, I am going to go back and score this again at some point. Whether I do another video on it, I'm not too sure, because by the time I've scored it and done another video and said, well, hey, here's what my scorecard said, obviously people are going to be talking about different things. We're going to be onto new subjects and bouts and things like that by then. But just for my own personal entertainment, I might go back, watch this again and score it again just to see what I think. Because whilst I wasn't scoring it, as I said, it got to the final bell and I just thought, I don't think Parker's done enough here. Not when Chisora has got a knockdown in the first round and I give him the majority of the first 6 or 7. No, let's be honest. The first majority of the first 7 rounds I'd give to Chisora. So I don't blame Derek for being upset, to say the least. I have seen worse robberies in boxing. We all have. But this is borderline robbery. It's borderline. I think Del Boy deserved to win that. And I understand the implications of it. Because if Derek Chisora beats Parker, that causes quite a shake-up in the heavyweight division. Because Chisora is meant to be the guy that gives you a tough fight, but you win. If you're a world-class title challenger boxer, Chisora is the guy that you beat. He gives you a tough fight. Yeah, you have a good dust-up with him, just like Usyk was under pressure from him. White obviously had had 2 tear-ups with him. Chisora is the guy that makes you work, gives you a tough night of it, but you beat him and then you move on into that higher level where you fight other high-level boxers, people like White, Povetkin, Pulev, Wilder, Fury, AJ, Takam. Well, saying that, Chisora obviously beat Takam. And this is what kind of keeps Chisora relevant, because he beats these people, or, you know, he has a habit of pulling the odd one out of the bag, like the Takam one. That really did rescue his career at the time. And I think that Chisora is going to be about for a good few, at least another year, because Joseph Parker, Andy Lee, said we'll give Derek a rematch. And it could be the next fight both of them have, would be a rematch. Eddie Hearn says fair enough, because people have paid box office for it once. It was a decent competitive brawl. People probably paid box office it again. So it's quite an easy one to make, and it's easy money. You've just got to look at who you're going to put on the undercard of it. Although saying that, it was mentioned. It said, Eddie, can you put this on the undercard of AJ Fury? That'd be an interesting one. I don't know if there's enough time, because the rumour, or the strong rumour what Eddie Hearn has put out, is that maybe we get a Fury AJ announcement this week. So we'll have to see what the date is. Be an interesting one to put on the undercard of that. But I think Joseph Parker will feel that his luck was in last night. He should do. Joseph Parker's an interesting one, because I do remember back in the day, before he fought Anthony Joshua, when Anthony Joshua was maybe at 14, 15 fights, Joseph Parker was seen as a real dangerous man in the division. He was knocking people out. He showed power, he showed hand speed. He doesn't have the same air of being that guy anymore. Unfortunately for him, he needs to re-establish himself as a guy you don't want to get in there with. I don't think he's that particularly off-putting anymore. Performance against White, he looked a bit flat. The fight against Farr was not good. Joseph Parker needs a good performance, like now. He needed it last night, and he didn't put it in. Right now, Joseph Parker is the guy who got very, very lucky. A dubious decision against Derek Chisora. That is not a good position to be in if you want a title fight or something like that. Derek Chisora, though, he'll get to box again. I mean, he's already said that he's not particularly bothered about title fights or anything like that. Derek Chisora is getting his money in for his retirement, and I don't blame him. I think he's sensible. Get as much money as you can out of this game, and then hopefully you leave with your health and faculties intact. And then, you know, he's got kids. You get to spend the rest of your days with your kids, having a nice time with them, and you can pay for as many trips to Disneyland as they want. I think that's quite a nice thought and nice idea.